friends, and welcome to The Well-Educated Artist, or welcome back to The Well-Educated Artist. I'm so glad you could join me today. As you can see here, we are going to be working with acrylic skins today. Now, I have lots of videos on acrylic skins. Please check them out. And if you want to know how to make acrylic skins, I have videos on how to make different kinds of acrylic skins. Today we're going to be doing a project with acrylic skins because so many people are looking for ways to use their acrylic skins. I tried to find an idea that could be for small skins or large skins. I'm going to be doing a larger project, but you could do this on a much smaller scale if you don't have quite so large skins. As you can see here, have different size skins. This particular skin is a very small bloom skin, so you may have some this size or you may have some larger ones. This one was made on a round mat, and it was just an experiment I was trying that just didn't turn out very well. And then I have these are usually dump skins or leftover paint skins. I have a square silicone mat that I just dump it on, and then I dry, see what I come up with. I play with it. I love to play in my paint. And then I have skins that I can use for projects because I'm always using them for projects, especially here on this channel. So I have all kinds of sizes of skins, but you could use a very small canvas, or in this case, I am going to be using a 14-inch round, which is very large and very ambitious and looks like this. But you could easily use a 6-inch round, 8-inch round, 10-inch round, all the way up. So if you don't have big skins, you can still do this project. Now, other than skins, and like I said, if you want to know how to make skins, please check out my videos. I will link them down below. You can check out how to specifically make skins. As you can see, there are different types of skins, as I've shown you here. And you can see these floetrol skins sometimes get kind of brittle, but these are perfect. The ugly skins, these are perfect for this project. The ones that don't match, the ones that look a little weird. Because please, if you have a pour box, or even if you've had a failed painting, sometimes your skins are not going to be very pretty. And you may be tempted to dump them, but don't. There are projects that you can do with ugly skins too, and you can make them pretty. If you check out my blinged out skin video, you can see some things you can do to alter skins to make them look nicer for your projects. So don't throw that paint away. Okay, so to get started, what I'm going to be doing is, let me get rid of these first. I'm going to be working with this skin. I have several of these large skins that are dumps. You can use either side, but this is the side that I'm going to be using as a front for this skin. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a flower pattern, and I taped this in together. This is just freezer paper because I had some just hanging around from a pour I did, and I try to recycle things, and I made a template figuring out how big I wanted my little petals. So all I did was draw out the size that I wanted, and I have an individual petal. And I have a secondary petal, and I'll show you where that goes. It's just a partial petal because we don't want to waste this either, because we don't want a lot of bulk for one, and for two, you may not have a lot of skins. And if you don't, then we're going to say that you only have to use what you need. So after you've drawn out your template, and it can set any size that you want that fits your space. If you have a tiny canvas, then you're going to want a really small petal. If you have trouble with drawing out your petals, you can find lots of templates online for petals. Okay, since I'm starting with a 14-inch round, which by the way, they are never really 14 inches across in diameter, because you would expect for that to be 7 this way and 7 this way, and guess what? 7 this way and 7 this way. It's not. So if you take your ruler, if you want to find the middle of your board, in this case I do because I want to do it in the middle. Mine is going to be about 6 3/4 from both sides. I've already marked the middle on this one. You can just take your pencil, mark a line where that is after you've made sure exactly how big you are. So this is really only 13.5, and then go this way and do the same thing at 6 3/4, and you can find your middle. Okay, you can just use a plain round if you're using wood or any kind of canvas to this. It can be square, it doesn't have to be round. You'll just need to measure and find the center. This can also be done over an existing pour painting. So if you have a pour painting and you don't love it so much, but you want a background for your flower, then you can do that. And that's actually what I'm going to do. I've already prepared a round. You can also, if you want a background that's just a solid color, you can easily just paint that with your acrylic paint. and have a solid background for it. I already have a background here, and this one was done with a catalyst wedge, and you can see all the color. This is actually the wood that is stained, so it kind of turned out interesting. And then I went over it with a catalyst wedge and removed a lot of that so you could see the color. So I'm going to be using this for my background. You're not going to see a lot of it. This was an experiment for me, playing with the catalyst wedge. I'm like, you know what? That's going to make an interesting background. But like I said, you're not going to see a lot of it, because once I get my petals down, then I'm going to be putting more petals in between. These are these wider half petals. So I'm going to have a much bigger piece. You can also cover that with skins if you're just wanting to use a plain round. So there's lots of different ways to do this. So use your creativity to do this. Okay. So let's get started. So back to my skin. So figure out which side that you want to use. And then for me, I'm just turning it over. I'm going to be using the front side here. So I'm just going to be drawing on this side. So as you can see here, all I've done is put down my template, and I've gone around it with gold. I've also done one here in pencil, which you can't see. So that's why I've gone around it in gold, so you can see. You're just going to trace these out, and you're going to cut them out. Now I know how many I need for this size. Since I've pieced this together, I try to be prepared. I hate wasting things. And I know how many petals I have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there are 13 petals, so I will need 13. I usually cut one extra, so I have 14 in case one goes terribly wrong or I don't like one. And then I will need one less of these. So I need to get those done. Now these can be done contrasting. If you don't have a large skin, you can use different colored skins. It's not a big deal. That just makes it more interesting. This is just a way to use all of those skins that you've been collecting and make it into a coherent piece. So it's just an idea for that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trace all of these onto my skin. So I have all of the ones in the exact same size. And it doesn't matter if you use a pencil, a pen, it doesn't matter at all, because you're going to be using the other side. Once you have all your petals traced out, just take your scissors and start cutting. Just make sure you avoid if you have any tears. Sometimes your skins can be very delicate. If you've never seen my video that kind of compares the different types of skins, Floetrol skins tend to be the most brittle. You can actually trace around it, and sometimes that will just cut your skins out if they're very thin and brittle. If you're having an issue before you start and you notice that your skins are sort of brittle and you're having difficulty working with them, you can coat them with something like diamond glaze that will make them stronger. So here is the petal, and I'm just going to be cutting out all of my petals until I have the number of petals that I need. In this case, I'm going to need 13 petals. So here are all my petals. As you can see, I changed to another skin that had similar coloring. So I will just intermix these so that these all work together as a cohesive whole. Now I have to do the same thing with my partial petals. Now you do not have to do partial petals, but I'm going to, so I need to go ahead and I need to get 13 of these partial petals. To do my partial petals, I'm going to be switching to a contrasting colored skin to show you that you can use all kinds of skins and colors and still come out with a great project. So I'm going to get these cut out, and then we're going to get this put together. Okay, so here is the fun part. We're going to start putting our flower together. If you remember, this was our mock-up, so you kind of get an idea of how that's going to go, and then some in between. So let's just start getting them down. If you've made a middle mark, then you can just start placing your petals from the middle mark out and try to intersperse the petals that are a little bit different evenly around. So once you've done the smaller petals, then you'll need to insert some of the larger pieces. Once you get your design down, you can use several things to glue it down. You can use diamond glaze, you can use E6000, or even Mod Podge. Whatever works for you. These skins are fairly delicate. Sometimes you'll have some raising, so you might want to test and make sure that your glue is not going to cause any bubbling on your skins. If you use bloom paints, you won't have this problem. Generally, they're super tough and they don't bubble up. But some of the thinner skins, depending on what you use to make your skin, what kind of flow medium you use, you may find that they bubble up. Do check and make sure you don't have any bubbling before you begin. Now I have removed all of my petals except for my bottom petals, and I want to keep those in place. So I'm just taking some of my diamond glaze and I'm going to apply it to my board and stick it down. So this is one method. You could take them completely off and put a coating on the back. I'm choosing to hold them in place because I want to make sure they go back where I want them. And I'm going to keep my glue sort of minimal for this. So once I have my base layer down, I can start getting my petals down. Once we've finished our design and we've got all of our glue down, then we can choose the middle. So to do that, I am just going to take my hole punch, this is a large hole punch, and grab a skin. So we have several options. So here's an option. This one is small and glittery. That's nice, it's a little small. And we have something that is more similar, which that looks pretty good, it matches. And then something totally different, which is this. This is a bloom skin. It's made with pigments and house paint. So if you watch my bloom videos, that's the style this is. And I think I'm going to use this one because this one is super fun. But if you want to go matchy-matchy, you can choose one of the other ones or even go with something that was really matchy-matchy. But we're going to go with this one, and I'm just going to glue it down. Do that really quickly. This one's going to need quite a lot of glue. This is a very heavy skin, so if you use a bloom skin, it's a much heavier skin. It's not going to stick as well, so just make sure you put extra glue on that. That's going to cover up that center, so if you were messy in the center and nothing matched, then you're good to go. Now we're just going to let this dry, and then we can put some protection over it. This would actually also make a cute little side table if you covered this completely with resin. It would be super cute. So you have a lot of options with this one, and you've used up all of those skins. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Tell me, what are you going to be doing with your skins? If you have ideas for skins projects, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye now.